Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lessons Heard podcast. My name is Special Blessing, and this is a podcast that focuses on life and all of its experiences, as well as the fact that even though we have, certain emotions, none of them are unique, or none of them we go through by ourselves. And so I'm not a therapist or a doctor or a counselor yet, but if I can share some of my experiences to make you feel like you're not alone or like less isolated in the situation that you're experiencing, then I feel like it's my responsibility to do so. So here we go. All right, so this episode is called Never Quit. That is the topic for episode 3. So initially, this came from a retreat that I just got back from. It was my church's youth retreat. So initially I did not want to go. I was not excited about it. I just felt like it wouldn't be, something that would be not necessarily not beneficial, but I didn't feel like, I thought we were going to do a lot of like personal sharing and all that stuff. And I didn't feel like, the people that were going to be going could necessarily relate to me. So it curbed my enthusiasm to a certain extent. But I got there, and then like by the first night I was already crying. So the theme obviously of the retreat then was never quit. And it was really timely for me because I was tired of work. I was tired of school. I was tired of just a bunch of stuff, and I was ready to just be like, you know what, at the end of the day, I don't care about none of this. None of this really matters. Like, that's it. I'm done. It is what it is. But in going on that retreat, it kind of refreshed my perspective to a certain extent. And so I picked up a lot of, important things, a lot of things that kind of motivated me again, that put me in the position to feel like I wanted to keep going. So the first night, he's my goddad, but he's also like the pastor of the church. So he kept calling us quitters. And I was hurt because low key, like, it's actually true. I've started a lot of things and then don't continue and quit because I don't feel like I deserve it, or I don't necessarily feel like capable of doing certain things. Sometimes it's just laziness, and sometimes it's just, I just give up, just straight up give up. And I had to go to bed thinking about that quite a bit. Like, why do I really give up on myself? Why do I really quit things? And so he gave us a book to read, which let me see, I think I have it on me. All right, boom. So this is the book, right? It's called Never Quit by Ed Cole. This book is really good. I didn't finish it yet, but so far it's helped me out a lot in changing my perspective on certain things. One of the things that it talked about was crisis. So y'all know, I got to define my words and such. So a crisis, according to the dictionary, is a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. It's also a time when difficult or important decisions must be made. It's also the turning point of a disease when an important change takes place, indicating either recovery or death. That, to a certain extent, also veers off into an emotionally significant event or a radical change in the status of a person's life. So the one I really want to focus on, although all of them are important, the one I really want to focus on is the third one. The turning point of a disease when an important change takes place, indicating either recovery or death. So even though it says disease here, I didn't necessarily get that. For me, even quitting, like giving up on stuff is a disease, or being lazy or procrastinating, which is really just being lazy, is a disease. And so you have to make a decision on whether you're going to keep going, or whether you're going to, let me put it in the terms of the definition, whether you're going to recover and do something different, or whether you're just going to like let it die. And sometimes making that decision is as simple as really being honest with yourself about what you want to do. And so I think that, crisis and the things that we experience are common. Like, you can't live life if you don't have experiences that are difficult for you, because that's the things that make you grow. So without experiencing any crisis, without experiencing things that are difficult for you, you would be the same person that you were 2 years ago, which is that's not what you want. Like, that would defeat the purpose of growing. That would defeat the purpose of living, really, because without growth and change, like, you're not really doing anything. And so back to the retreat. Obviously, like, I'm glad I went, but then when we got back, the Sunday morning ended up being Never Quit Again, right? So I'm like, okay, I can go a little bit further. Then I was checking back, like, on my Facebook memory Sunday night, which I rarely ever do because I don't like Facebook. But I was checking back on my memories, and then I saw this thing from Steve Harvey that he was saying about how he ended up being on Showtime at the Apollo, and how that was like his first show, and how he was homeless and he experienced different things, and how it got him to the point of never quitting. And so one of the points that I wanted to, I guess, accentuate or just really acknowledge was this part. So he said, in your life, everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind is, if you give up, the guarantee is it'll never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it'll never happen. No way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up, no matter what, because God is always coming. He's never too late. And that's true. That's true. Sometimes we have certain experiences that can get so discouraging that it's like, I don't want to keep going. Like, I'm just exhausted. That's how I felt before I went on the retreat. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of having to experience certain things that I don't necessarily, I know it's going to be beneficial in the long run, but like, I'm tired of waiting for the long run. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of waiting for things to be a certain way, or everybody saying like, oh, it'll get better. Like, when's the better though? When's the better? And that's way easier to say when you're like in a situation where you're okay, or when you're in a situation where you kind of have space to breathe or to relax. Whereas in something similar to mine, it's kind of like there's never really a layback moment. You kind of always have to keep going. And so for me, just constantly getting confirmation like that, like, God is on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily about what I think or how I feel that things should go, how I feel that certain things should be, or what I think, with the plans I have for myself. Like, he already knows at the end of the day what's best for me, regardless of necessarily how I feel, because there's been plenty of times where I thought things were like, oh my, this is it, but that was not the case. And I don't always 100% know what I was saved from, but I know later on, that it was better for me to not have gone all the way through with certain things. And so then I started reading the book a little bit more, and I was up, I want to say yesterday. I woke up at like 2 something, and I was up all day. Like, I was up from 2 something in the morning until maybe 9 or so at night. And just different points, like, when I woke up, I read the book for a couple of hours, and then before I went to sleep, I read for like a couple of minutes. I ain't gonna hold you. But so one of the things I got from the book was crisis is the natural result of change. So anytime you experience something, anytime, you know, your job changes, anytime you change schools, anytime, you know, your living situation changes, you're going to experience some form of a crisis. So whether it's just having to get familiar in an unfamiliar place, whether it's, you know, being hesitant about getting to know different people, or just having to find a job, having to, you know, shift your circumstances, whatever the case may be. Like, anytime something changes, a crisis is a part of that. And I think that's important to know, because then you start to feel like, okay, this is not, it's just a part of life. It's just a part of the experience. And that makes it easier to a certain extent to deal with. It makes it more bearable, I'll say. And so in situations, you know, where crises come about, like I said before, my God, that always, you know, says, like, what am I supposed to learn from this? What's the lesson that I'm supposed to take from this situation? Because anything you go through, or any experience that you have with people that you meet, or situations that happen, you can always learn something. And so it's important to ask, like, what can I learn from this? Or what did I learn from this? So that it's not necessarily just a waste. Because if you just look at it and complain about it, then it's easy to be like, man, I just had this experience and like nothing happened, and it was a waste of time. Like, that, the waste of time feeling is it's a strong one. You know what I'm saying? That can be a really strong feeling. But if you change your perspective and look at it like, what am I supposed to learn from this? Then, like I said, it makes it more bearable. I think that's just the best way to put it. And it makes you feel more confident, I think, because you know you came out of it stronger. So that's what makes the difference for me. Because if I feel like I'm just stagnant, you know, then it's like, it sucks. I'm much more miserable if I feel stagnant. But if I choose to look for growth, then I'm a lot happier. And so yeah, next quote. Winners are not those who never fail, but those who never quit. And again, never quit. Like, that's just all it boils down to. Never quit. As tough as it may be, as easy as it would be to give up, as not even good as it would feel to take a rest, but I guess you have to learn how to rest and not stop. That's an important variation, because even if you rest for too long, like, you can procrastinate. It becomes procrastination, and then that's where problems set in, because then nothing happens and you feel like stuff is starting to build up. And it makes you really anxious. It makes you feel like nothing is happening. And things happen when you move. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference between resting and kind of taking a break and taking time to reevaluate things versus just stopping and being like, okay, I can't do this, or I shouldn't do this, or I feel like this, XYZ. If you reevaluate things, if you look at it from a different perspective, sometimes that has the ability to push you in a whole different direction, and then it allows you to reach people that you never thought you could. So stuff like that is important. Like I said, perspective is just a really big part of choosing to be happy, choosing to look at things, you know, and not quit, not give up. All right, next quote. Maintaining is always more difficult than obtaining. So the analogy that my guy dad used when we were on the retreat was a dress, plain and simple. Like, okay, is it easier to buy the dress or is it easier to keep the dress, keep it nice and all that stuff? So obviously, if you buy it, it's like, boom, just pay the money for it. If you have it, it's bought. Simple. Now, maintaining the dress is more difficult, obviously, because you have to, wash it. You got to keep it clean. You got to make sure, if it gets stains in it, you can wash it out. All that jazz. You got to be able to dress it up with different, outfits or whatever. You got to be cute, So the maintenance of that is a lot more. Even when it comes to, okay, think of what's another good one? Your mental health, right? So get into the space where let's see, when you're born, your mental health is not necessarily a concern. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're fine, you're provided for, you're protected. As life goes on, maintaining that is not always the easiest thing to do, because life has a tendency to just get in the way, where it's like, I don't want to. Like, all these experiences that I have, especially if you're going through them alone, it can just be really discouraging. Like, to have to be okay, to have to force yourself to be okay. And so many times people go through things alone and never say anything about it. I know, because I've done it. Even down to like self-harm, like, and not saying anything about it just because, I felt like people didn't care. And whether that be the case or not, get into a space where I was back okay was a fight. Like, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to fight for. And I started telling people after. I remember I reached out to somebody one time. Like, I had, scars, like physical, and I reached out to somebody. And I just showed it to him. I didn't say anything. I just, like, showed the person, the scars that I had. And all they said was, "Why are you doing that?" Like, what? It's not helping me. Like, that's not helping me. That's not doing nothing for me. And then not only that, they, like, it never became a conversation after that. It never was like, "Oh, let me pull you to the side. Let's see if you're okay. Let me, like, come over, like, XYZ. It was just like, I'm only saying this because you're right here. Like, other than that, and it's never been brought up in conversation again. And I see this person regularly, like, and that's when you start to realize, and it can be discouraging, that even though people can care, like, their life tends to be more important. So you have to learn how to, handle yourself. Like, you have to learn how to, I guess, take care of yourself. You have to be your priority. And that wasn't my tendency for a long time. Like, because of who and how I am, I have a tendency to prioritize other people and to make sure other people are okay and that they're, safe. Like, even if I don't have nothing, I want other people to be okay. And that can be dangerous because people are capable of taking advantage. And as much as you want to give, or I've wanted to give, there's a way I'm learning to protect you and still give to them at the same time. Because it doesn't mean you should change who you are. It doesn't mean you should be like, "Oh, no, you can't have nothing." Like, or you should be a negative person. It just means, like, no, I give with restriction. Boundaries. Those are super important. And I used to think that boundaries were mean. Like, in my initial stages of establishing them, and which I'm still in the process of, you know what I'm saying? It's not an overnight thing, but, like, I had a really tough time establishing boundaries because I just couldn't grasp, like, what was the purpose. If you love somebody, you should just be able to give and give and give and, take care of the people that you love, because that's what I would want, right? But not everybody is me. Not everybody has my experiences. Not everybody shares my perspective. And there are people in the world who will see that and take advantage of it, like on some predatory stuff. And you have to protect your space. You have to protect your energy. You have to protect your heart, because at the end of the day, like, it's not to say that nobody else will, but if you don't, you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to love you. You teach people how to respond to you. And the less concerned you are about how people do that, the more people feel like it's okay to run over you. And it's like not. It's just not. And it hurts, because then you end up being the only person that, is suffering as a result. But those boundaries, make a difference. And it, like I said, this ties back into Never Quit, because the establishment of those boundaries helps you to love people better. It's helped me to love people better. I can't say everybody, but it's helped me to love people better. It's helped me to, when I do feel like quitting on certain people, like, okay, no, I just have to understand, who I am or where I stand in their life, and it doesn't mean I have to hate you. It doesn't mean I have to, not care or whatever. But I'm never going to quit establishing my boundaries, and I'm never going to quit also at the same token, like, being who I am. And so finding a way to make those two things coexist is a process. It's a never-ending process. You always have to learn, because different people, come into this situation. Also, you constantly grow and change, and the people that are around you, that have been around, constantly grow and change. And so it's all a part of the process. It's all a part of the experience. I feel like, the last year and some change has been really taxing, on everybody. I won't just say a lot of people. It's been pretty taxing for everybody. And I know that, there may be certain points where you felt like you just wanted to throw in the towel and to give up. But I'm hoping that, this is enough to inspire you. Like, you can do it. You can do it no matter what it looks like, no matter what the situation is. And I know that people go through tough stuff. Like, life is tough, like it is. But even though I may not understand individually, like, what your experiences are, I know that you can make it, because if you couldn't, you wouldn't be here, And so if you need a testimony, look in the mirror. Think about all the things that you've experienced prior to now, and think about all the stuff that you've made it through prior to now. All the tears, all the, frustrations, all the different emotions, can take a toll for sure. But if you just let life keep going, things have a way of working themselves out. God has a way of showing up and making things not necessarily ideal, but you can be content, and that, if you can be content, you can be happy, for real. Sometimes it's just about finding little things to make yourself happy. Find something out of the day, like 5 minutes for yourself, if it's a mirror date, which I've been hearing about recently. I'm about to start. But if it's a mirror date where you, like, just stand in the mirror and tell yourself how great you are, like, wow, I'm really out here. Like, I'm really doing stuff. You feel me? Like, I'm really chasing my dreams. I'm really doing X, Y, Z, And I don't have to be. Like, I could be at home just chilling, not doing nothing. I'm really, getting up and going to work every day. I'm really in school, like, even though it's tough, I'm really just different things, and then you'll say, like, I am, and say your name, I am somebody. Or a walk. Walks are important, I think, to your mental health, period, because it's exercise, but it also gives you opportunity to just be somewhere different and think. Like, I love walks. What else can you do? Buy yourself something nice. My thing typically, like, is flowers. I be buying myself flowers a lot. I haven't had none in a minute, but I'm about to get back on my flower game. What else? Ice cream. It's getting hot, so ice cream, or like a smoothie or a milkshake, treat yourself. Just if you haven't in a while, just for the simple fact that you're still here, I think you deserve that much, so take advantage of every day, take advantage of every opportunity, be the best version of you, and you can do it, never quit, because there are better things ahead. There are so many things that you have to live for, and so many things that you have yet to experience, so many adventures that you have to have, so much love that you may not have experienced yet. That reminds me, I saw a quote that, it was probably last month, that said, you have not met all the people that will love you yet. And I thought that was so wonderful. Like, just, it's so encouraging, because in a time or a place where you don't feel loved, or where you don't feel seen or heard, to know that at some point, like, there's more people that's gonna love you. There's more people that's gonna be there for you. The tribe is, like, on its way. You just gotta take that kind of with a grain of salt. Like, they're coming. They might not be here yet, and it may be a minute before they get here, but let me work on myself in order to make that the case, So yeah, you haven't met all the people that will love you yet. And don't quit. Keep going. You can do it. All right. So that's it, I think. And I will see y'all soon with another one. Yeah. Bye.